A simple slab project, the phone holder. Use the cutting board or template to measure out your pieces. Don't cut out of the middle of your slab. That wastes perfectly good slab. Cut your piece from the edge, please. Trimming off the cracked bit, of course. A shim works well as a straight edge. And a fettling knife to cut. On a cutting board, that is. It takes a lot of pressure to hold the shim still. Use the sharp side of the fettling knife. Hold the knife at an angle front to back, but straight up and down side to side, so that your cut edges are perpendicular to the surface. Run the blade over the cut a few times for a clean cut. Do this to the remaining sides. Overshoot the corners so you have nice clean corners. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't cut until your straight edge is firmly in place. Gently separate. Remember, your leather hard slab can crack. Bag your excess clay right away so you can use it later and it doesn't dry out. This is a good time to smooth your edges. And trim off any unwanted clay. If you have a template, you can use it to mark your next cuts. Pushing too hard on the straight edge can leave unwanted imprints in the clay. Clean cuts make for the least amount of work later. Clean up your edges. This is also a good time to put any detail or decoration onto the slabs. Smooth edges for your happy future self. Cut the long part of the template off to use for your nameplate. This is for your first name. Divide it into the correct number of sections for the letters in your name. So 4 letters in your name, divide it into 4 sections. Pencil in the letters of your name, then lay it on top of the corresponding slab. Use a pencil to go over the letters so it imprints the clay. Use a pencil to remark the clay. Very hard clay is best for carving, so put it on the hot plate for a minute or 2. The scalpel is good for cutting the edges of your letters. Block letters are easiest. The S is hard. Go slow if you have complex letters. For carving out the letters, use the small loop tool or sgraffito tool. One end has thicker wire and the other end has thinner wire. The thin wire side works best for this. Wipe away the excess clay. Keep your hand well anchored while turning the piece of clay, so you're always cutting in a similar direction. This gives you the best cuts. Just keep turning that piece of clay. For assembly, you'll need a scoring tool and a needle tool. And your slip. Trim the front edge of the short side of the rectangle so you have a nice surface for joining. Deeply score that face with the scoring tool. Holding the nameplate to that face, mark the outline with your needle tool where the 2 pieces intersect. That shows you the section that you need to score. Score it deeply. Pack the surface with thick slip. While you have to score both pieces of clay to put them together, only one side needs to have slip applied. Gently but firmly push the two pieces together. A little side-to-side motion ensures a good connection. It's good to see the slip ooze out a bit. Use your bristle brush to clean the joint. Roll a tiny coil to reinforce the joint. Slab-built construction requires reinforcement. Use a tool handle to push it into place. That seems to be the right shape for this job. Set the backrest in place, halfway off the bottom plate. That looks cool. And cut out the intersection, like this. Keep the intersection cut out on the smaller side, so that when you fit the piece into place, it's a firm fit. Score the connecting faces. Both sides must be scored. Generously apply slip. I like to put it on the innie on this one. Insert the tower piece and squeeze together, firmly pushing it into place. Clean the joint with the bristle brush. Roll a little coil. If the coil gets too dry, it will crack. Spray the coil and lay the wet coil onto the joint to reinforce it. Again, slab constructions need coil reinforcement. Slab-built joints really need coil reinforcement. or they can crack apart as they dry. You can add details at this time also. Put your scraps into your slip container if they'll fit. Clean up the bottom of your piece always. A damp sponge works well. You can use your metal rib to smooth it. The metal rib flexes a little bit so it can contour to the surface. Put your initials dash period number on every piece you make. The lid of your slip is handy for filling with water. Dip your fingers or your bristle brush in and use them to smooth your piece. The bristle brush is great for smoothing detailed areas also. Scotch-Brite is good for smoothing and removing clay. Make sure it's not too wet and use it gently. Your finished piece goes on the greenware shelf. Well done! When it becomes bone dry, it will go into the kiln to be fired. Congratulations and thanks for watching.